documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Ronald Show, Ronald.
What if the government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it is perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex and teaching you to be a creditor in commerce. And today is 27 July 2013 and I have a story about being a creditor in commerce today for you. As you know, the Dreamers web series fell apart because Roy Rey's ego got in the way and he attempted to steal the $4,000 and the camera and do this whole thing on his own, but being a thief and a liar, thieves and liars never prosper. So today, last night I had texted Roy and I called him and left him a voicemail and I said, Roy, because he has the garage clicker for the apartment complex and I don't trust him anymore because of what he's done. So I told him he had 14 hours. I gave him due and timely notice. It was 11 o'clock last night. I called him and his uncle and left messages on their voicemail and said, I'm giving you due and timely notice to respond with the clicker in 14 hours. That would be 1 p.m. today, Pacific time. I'm in North Hollywood, California. And I repeated, and I called both of his numbers and then called his uncle and I left the voicemails and everything like that. And so Roy texted me back and said, well, will I get my equipment, my stuff? And he gave me a list of things and I said, Roy, you broke the agreement when you didn't return the camera or the money. All that stuff went out on the street. I have none of your belongings. And so I didn't hear back from him. So today at 11:30 p.m. there was a knock on my door at 11:30 a.m. and then I opened up the door and there's Roy standing there with the police. And Roy's got a list of his things and he was shaking and the police said, so here's what I did. I didn't stand there in the doorway holding the door open with them there looking at me. I stepped outside, shut the door behind me. Now they have no legal right to enter the apartment or even look in there. So I was like, what's going on? And he said, do you have his belongings? And I said, no, I have none of his belongings, which I don't. They're all gone. Everything is gone. And he said, and Roy was shaking and he's like, I have receipts, I have a list of this, and this. And I said, let me tell you something, officer. We were working on a film project together. He stole all of the money and the camera and now he's in dishonor and he's being sued for $4,000. So, and then I said, do you have a search warrant? And the cop shook his head no. I said, all right, well, I don't give you permission to come into the apartment. I am on this lease. And he turned to Roy and said, I can't do anything. This is a civil matter. You'll have to sue him, counter-sue him for the lawsuit. So I said to Roy, I'm sorry, Roy. And I said to the police officer, thank you, police officer. And I turned around, went right in my apartment, shut the door and locked it. And that was it. So remember, when the police knock at your door, step outside immediately and shut the door behind you, okay? That way they have no right that way they have to have a search warrant to even look in your apartment or house. So you always want to maintain control of the situation. And when I asked him if he had a search warrant, and he said no, he had to answer my question, and that was it. And I turned around, and this whole incident took less than 3 minutes. Roy gave me back because I said to Roy, do you have the clicker? And he handed it to me. And I said, well, I don't have any of your stuff. It's all gone. And if you want to search for me at the apartment, you're going to need a search warrant. Do you have a search warrant? Nope. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So that's my lesson today. Thank you for watching the Ronald Show. documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And that police officer who was standing there with a gun, on his hip and handcuffs, is part of the military-industrial complex. And he also is part of the creditor in commerce situation. So you have to understand how to be a creditor in commerce to handle the police and know your own rights. All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Have you ever wanted to write a book? Have you ever wanted to write a screenplay? Have you ever wanted to have your great movie idea turned into a screenplay, turned into a movie, turned into a book, and distributed all over the world? Well, now you can learn how to do it with the great new book by Ronald, How to Write a Screenplay in 30 Days or Less. It includes the logline, theme, synopsis, outline, and screenplay of the 3 magic questions. Learn how to write a screenplay in 30 days or less, or your money back. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
No, wait, dude, let me tell you something. I got to tell you about this one place. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people, and ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. Oh, dude, this guy was telling me it's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people, and ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. Oh yeah, I was just talking about this other place. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. And ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. Oh, someone was just telling me about it. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. Ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. Oh yeah, well, I was just hearing about this place. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. Ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. Somebody was just telling me about this place. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. And ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. There's this one place I heard of called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. Ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. That's what it is, kids. That's what I heard about it. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. Ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. One time I was on this place. It's called Talk Cafe. Real talk, real people. Ladies always talk free. Call 1-800-670-5666. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex, and teaching you how important it is to be a creditor in commerce. Today is August 1st, 2013, and this episode is important because I do now have undeniable proof that our environment is in serious trouble. Our planet is in serious trouble. The health of the people on planet Earth and our future is in serious trouble. And this undeniable proof comes directly from the White House, from Barack Obama, as he sent me an email today, which I'm going to read to you so you can understand what I'm talking about. A couple of weeks ago, I'd say 3 weeks ago, the 10th episode of Season 3 of The Ronald Show came out, and it specifically was titled An Urgent Message to Planet Earth. And it's about chemical spraying in the air. Chemicals are being sprayed in the air that have destroyed our ozone, and the destruction of that ozone has led to gigantic holes in the ozone that are allowing more sun radiation and heat to hit the planet. This is causing the North Pole, the Arctic ice, to melt. And beneath that Arctic ice is a huge lake bed of methane gas. If that ice melts completely, or enough to release huge stores, billions of tons of methane gas into the atmosphere, that could be an extinction level event. We may wind up
having life decimated on this planet, the oceans and on land. So I sent the show to the White House, and I received a response today via email. Now I want to read this email to you, and I'm going to. And I want you to listen very carefully, and I'm going to make some comments about it as we go. This email came at 9:31 a.m., 2 hours ago, as it's about noon right now. It is 12:25 Pacific time. I'm here in North Hollywood, California, on Magnolia Boulevard, just near Laurel Canyon. The email came from no-reply, because you can't reply to this address, at correspondence.whitehouse.gov. So if you do want to contact the White House, send them your emails of concern. And here's what the email says. The letter heading is the White House, Washington. Dear Ronald, thank you for writing. I have heard from many Americans concerned about environment issues. Right, so I'm not the only one. Hopefully more of you are sending your correspondence to the White House about your serious distress over what's going on this planet. If I seem a little uncomfortable, it's because my back hurts. Every now and then I throw my back out. So thank you for writing. I've heard from many Americans concerned about environmental issues, from pollution reduction to the well-being of our national parks and wildlife. America's natural resources and landscapes are among our most precious treasures, and we have an obligation to protect them for future generations. This is why my administration continues to take action to preserve and restore our land, water, and air. Through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, we increased funding for hazardous waste cleaning, wastewater and drinking water infrastructure construction, and projects that improve our nation's parks and wildlife refuges. Okay, so they had to increase funding. Again, it comes down to the monetary system. Remember, if there was no monetary system and everything was just free and was about the betterment of mankind, space exploration, keeping our planet an inhabitable environment, if there was no money, we wouldn't have to worry about increasing funding. That's just it's a block between our potential and what we can do with it. The monetary system is about profit and limitation and scarcity. And if we get rid of those three elements by eradicating the monetary system, we won't have to worry about increasing funding. We can just do everything we need to do right now to solve the problem. But as he says here, and we're still living in this system, so it's all about funding. I also signed the Omnibus Public Land Management Act, the most extensive expansion of land and water conservation in more than a generation. And my administration has taken comprehensive action to ensure the integrity of the water sources Americans rely on every day for drinking, swimming, and fishing, and that support farming, tourism, and economic growth. Again, economic growth. What is economic growth? We don't really need economic growth. We need to get rid of the economic growth by getting rid of the monetary system. Then we won't have to worry about economic growth. We'll just be able to focus on making everything better. I have also been proud to designate 9 national monuments for permanent protection, including Chimney Rock in the San Juan National Forest in Colorado, the San Juan Islands that are home to bald eagles, orca whales, and harbor seals in Puget Sound, and the Rio Grande del Norte, over 240,000 acres in New Mexico, containing scenic stretches of the Rio Grande Gorge and extinct volcanoes rising from the Taos Valley floor. These monuments open more opportunities for Americans to connect to the outdoors, provide jobs,
and economic benefits for local communities, preserve our heritage, and protect America's special places for future generations to enjoy. To safeguard our national heritage and historic landmarks, I was also proud to launch the America's Great Outdoors Initiative. Building on input from tens of thousands of people across our country, my administration is joining with communities, landowners, sportsmen, businessmen, and partners at every level of government to reconnect Americans with the natural world and lay the foundation for a more sustainable planet. We also established the first comprehensive national policy for the stewardship of the ocean, our coasts, and the Great Lakes, ensuring healthy ocean and coastal resources for the many communities and economies that rely on and enjoy them. Again, economy. The economies are affected by everything because of the existence of the monetary system itself. Once we get rid of the monetary system, economy, the word, will go right out of our lexicon. Our new generations coming up won't even know what money is and how bad it used to be. Remember, it only represents debt. If you're holding a dollar bill, you're holding debt. Okay, now, listen carefully to this. This paragraph coming up here confirms that we have dangerous elements in the air and water that are poisoning people and causing mass deaths and harm to the environment. And it's going on right now. And this is proof from Barack Obama and the White House. They sent me this. If you want it, you send me your email to the Ronald Show 2011 at gmail.com, and I will forward this letter to you to read yourself. So let's continue. We have also taken important steps to reduce the harmful emissions that contribute to climate change and pollute our water and air. He's not denying that we are experiencing climate change, water, and air pollution. For the sake of our children and our future, we must do more to combat climate change, right? Because we're not doing enough. We're actually causing climate change. Its effects, and this is the quote from the letter, its effects, including warmer temperatures, extreme weather, and sea level rise, are being felt across our nation and around the world. There you go. Its effects, including warmer temperatures, extreme weather, and sea level rise, are being felt across the nation and around the world. Today, the United States is on the path to a cleaner and more secure energy future, and the dangerous carbon pollution emissions that threaten our communities have fallen to their lowest level in nearly 2 decades. Okay, that is good. That levels are decreasing. But just think about what the last 2 decades have done with the high levels of pollutants in the air and water. That has destroyed our environment, is killing major rainforests, is melting the Arctic ice because of the holes in the ozone and the sun radiation, and may lead to a type of extinction level event if enough methane gas releases into the air. We will continue to reduce air pollution through clean energy technology, energy efficiency measures for our buildings and appliances, and achievable pollution standards that are reducing toxic pollutants and saving lives. So, he admits that there are toxic pollutants in the air. As part of our efforts, we set the first ever national limits for mercury and other toxins from power plants, which will prevent up to 11,000 premature deaths, 4,700 heart attacks, and 130,000 cases of childhood asthma symptoms each year. So what is he saying there? That because there's never even been a limit to the amount of mercury that can be in the air, we've been experiencing the toxins from power plants, we're experiencing 11,000 premature deaths, 4,700 heart attacks, and 130,000 cases of childhood asthma symptoms every year because of the pollutants coming from power plants, the mercury in the air. And they just now have instituted a level of toxic pollutants. And he's talking about saving lives. So this is proof that they know what is going on. Barack Obama came in and is now doing something about it. Hopefully, this isn't just a bunch of bullshit that he's feeding me. And they realize that many, many unnecessary deaths are happening. I mean, you add that up. 130,000 plus 4,700 plus 11,000. That's probably a low estimate. So let's just say 200,000 unnecessary deaths a year. Children, really. Because they're saying 11,000 premature deaths a year due to toxic pollutants. Changing the way we produce and use our energy is essential to protecting our environment for future generations. We established the toughest new fuel economy standards in history, which will double the fuel efficiency of our cars and light trucks by the middle of the next decade, saving American families money at the pump while slashing carbon pollution and oil consumption. We also established the first ever national fuel economy and greenhouse gas emission standards for commercial trucks, vans, and buses built in 2014 to 2018. All right, good. Our nation is becoming a global leader in advanced vehicles, and auto dealers are selling more hybrid vehicles than ever before. Good. I'm also calling on Congress to use some of our oil and gas revenues to fund an energy security trust that will drive new research and technology to shift our cars and trucks off of oil for good. Good. The trust will support research into a range of cost-effective technologies, including advanced vehicles that run on electricity and alternative fuels. Yes, we want to run on electricity. We don't even need to run on alternative fuels, really. We really ought to just be using electricity. Even solar-derived electricity. Thanks in part to my administration's investment in clean energy, the largest in American history, the United States has doubled renewable energy generation from wind, solar, and geothermal sources. I have also set a goal to double renewable electricity production again by 2020 to build on our momentum and create tens of thousands of American jobs while continuing to improve the health of our national environment, our natural environment for all our children and grandchildren. So let me read that again. Thanks in part to my administration's investment in clean energy, the largest in American history, the United States has doubled renewable energy generation from wind, solar, and geothermal sources. Good. Sources. I've also set a goal to double renewable electricity production again by 2020 to build on our momentum and create tens of thousands of American jobs while continuing to improve the health of our natural environment for all our children and grandchildren. Let's hope that when the new administration does come in after Barack Obama has served his final term, his second term, that they will keep that momentum going. Remember, I think Jeb Bush is probably going to wind up becoming the next president because it's the Bush dynasty. And although Barack Obama might not seem like a Bush, he is related to the Bushes and to the throne in England. So just remember, when the next president does come in, if it is Jeb Bush, because the fix is in, let's do everything that we can to keep this program going. These are major, important programs. And here's the last paragraph. Thank you again for writing. We all share the responsibility to help protect the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the land that supports and sustains us. My administration remains committed to tackling these and other tough environmental problems, not only for the sake of our natural world, but also for the long-term well-being of our families and our economy. I encourage you to learn more about our efforts at www.whitehouse.gov/environment. You can also find out more about the America's Great Outdoors Initiative at americasgreatoutdoors.gov. Sincerely, Barack Obama. And that's the letter. And that's the proof. And that's the truth. We're in serious trouble as a planet. Our environment, our water, and our air, and our land, and our seas, and our children, and our future is all at stake. So if you can, please contact the White House. Let them know that you're concerned about our water, our air, our land, our oceans, our food, the economy, the monetary system, electric cars, solar energy. Alright, thanks for watching The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex, and teaching you to be a creditor in commerce. So let's get rid of the monetary system, so that being a creditor in commerce is no longer a term either. We don't need the monetary system. We have all of the resources in place, all the people, all the things. The best way to help the planet and the people is to get rid of the monetary system so that we can learn to live in a world where we're existing for the betterment of mankind, the sustainability of our planet, and space exploration. Alright, thanks for watching. Peace.
The human race will die.
Oh, really?
The first commandment is to maintain a global population under 500 million. Do you know what that means? It means 6.5 billion people are going to die at the hands of the Illuminati unless we stop the Iranians from detonating that dirty nuclear bomb at the Hollywood and Vine train station.
The Iranian suicide bomber cell is located at the Vibe Hotel on Hollywood Boulevard.
This isn't Scooby-Doo.
Please!
Little blood drink and turned your stomach?
Guide them through the bomb. What is this? Fucking Batman and Robin?
I had become part of something that I no longer felt right about serving.
It's Hollywood and Vine, not Vine Hollywood. Don't you know anything about American culture? You silly Russian.
The global military-industrial complex.
Leading the charge of the carnal feminine.
Ah, yes. The Messiah.
My book is the solution.
How is that the way the world is?
Traitor, who are you working for?
If I was cartoon character, I'd be Woody Woodpecker.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From the Gulf Stream waters to the New York Island, this land was made for you and me.
Calling Roy Rey. Today's August 1st, 2013. Welcome back to The Ronald Show. See if he answers. If he doesn't, then this will never make the show. That was his private number. I'm going to give you guys both numbers so you can call him. Scott got his money back, by the way, from Chase. Welcome to The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it is perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex and teaching you to be a creditor in commerce. I'm calling Roy Rey. It's August 1st, 2013. I'm going to give you his phone number. Yeah, no, message. Alright. Alright. So here's his private number. His private number is 310-598-9273. And his old number is 917-981-1684. Call him. You can tell him he's got diabetes, lung cancer, and he sucks ass. Alright, let me call him one more time. I just made a nice salad with some goat cheese in it. Still ring him. Roy! It's Ronald. Hey. So, what's going on there, pal? By the way, if you do get a warrant to search my place, there is nothing here. Okay? All your stuff is G-O-N-E, gone. Bye. Alright, let me call his uncle's house. Let me see. Alright, I'm going to call his uncle, Roy Rey. Feel free to call. Alright. Let's see here. Let me call Willie's cell. Now, I'm not calling to harass him. I just want to see if he's okay. I don't want him to commit suicide. I don't want to have somebody's death on my hands. My mom wished someone dead once, and she died. I'm not like that. There's no such... Hello? I'm trying to get a hold of Roy Rey. This is Ronald Farnham. Yeah, hello? Yeah, is this Welly? This is Ronald Farnham. I'm a friend of... Well, I used to be a friend of Roy Rey's. Of Roy's? Is Roy there? Oh, because I called him on his cell phone. Is he okay? Okay, I know he might be upset because nothing's going well for him, and now he's in serious legal trouble. But I just wanted to give him a call and talk to him, make sure he's not gonna. I don't want him to kill himself. He's not gonna kill himself, is he? Yeah, he's upset, right? Do you know why he is upset? Has he told you what's happened? All right, can I explain it to you? Well, he borrowed $4,000 from a friend of mine, and then he took the $4,000 and he took the equipment that he used to buy the that he used the $4,000 on, and now because he stole the money and abandoned some people in Las Vegas, he's gonna have a lot of legal problems. He's gonna get sued. And he also has none of his belongings, so he might be distressed. And I know he smokes a lot and he eats a lot of rice and he might have diabetes or lung cancer, but I just want to make sure that he's not going to kill himself because he has a lot of legal stuff to go through and he's going to have to make restitution. So I just wanted to call and make sure that he was still alive and would be able to make restitution. Okay? Yeah, my name's Ronald. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Alright, so I just talked to Roy Rey, and that's his uncle, who is allegedly a lawyer, practices the law, and you heard what I said. Okay, thanks for watching the Ronald Show. Peace. Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble is Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star. The crazy adventure of a 1951-born male in Beaufort, Georgia with a 2-foot penis that grows to 3 feet. He goes on to become an international porn star after becoming a war hero in Vietnam. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Hello everyone and welcome back to The Ronald Show. Today is 21 August 2013 and congratulations to Derek for just having a baby. Yep, 7 pounds 11 ounces, I think. So congratulations to you and your lovely wife for having your first child. Congratulations. Now I wanted to talk to you about two things. First, the first thing is about deliberate manifestation. As you might know, I am releasing the rewrite of my book, The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening, and I'm releasing it with the new title, The Bible Part 2, The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening. And I've gone through the first book and I've changed part of the structure of what this is really about. And what it is going to teach the world is deliberate manifestation and the 3 steps to deliberate manifestation. That is, the first is to idealize your vision. Now you can take 60 seconds and think about what your goal is, your vision, which might be to become let's just say you're going to become a computer scientist, okay? So, I want to be a computer scientist. I see myself being a computer scientist sitting at the desk writing code for, let's say, Google. So you want to become a computer scientist for Google. Now, in order to make that happen, you have to take that thought, that idea that takes 20, 30, 60 seconds to think of, and then spend an hour perfecting, idealizing that vision. And that can be just sitting quietly in your room thinking, okay, well, let's see, I want to become a computer scientist for Google, writing code. I don't know how to write code yet, so what do? Maybe, okay, I'm going to start reading code books, computer code writing books. What's the latest one? Maybe I'll pick up a book on writing Perl script. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll get a couple of books on that. In fact, I'll go to the library tomorrow. That way I don't have to go to the bookstore and it won't cost me anything. I can go to the library, I can check out some of these books and I can start studying. And then I can start practicing. And maybe I'll even write my own codes. And I'll even write my own video game. And so as you can see, the more you think about it, if you spend an hour or 2 hours just daydreaming, that's what kids do these days in school. They're daydreaming. Because just like Doug Stanhope says, the stuff that's going on in those kids' brains isn't ADD and ADHD. It's just more interesting than what those teachers are regurgitating based on what they're being told to tell you and teach you according to the education system. And I give all the respect in the world to teachers. It's a noble, underpaying job. But back to this. A child might be daydreaming because they're like, one day I want to be a world-famous track star. And I'm going to win the gold medal in the 1 mile. Now, how do I do that? I go and I start perfecting the vision. Well, if I run every day and get to where I can run 1 mile in 4 minutes, then maybe I can get down to 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And it's going to have to take speed work, and I'm going to have to make my legs go faster and my arms pump faster because and I need to have that 1/4 mile burst at the end so I can sprint it out and I can make each 1/4 mile under 1 minute. So you take your idea, your final idea of what you want, that gold medal in the 1 mile sprint and the 1 mile gold in the Olympic event, and then you start perfecting that vision. Now, once you have perfected your vision, which is step 2, first you have your idea, your goal. Then step 2, you perfect your vision. Now, step 3 is important. You start taking action on that vision. You go out and you start practicing running that mile. You start lifting weights. You get your legs stronger. You get your arms to pump faster. You hire a coach. You train every day. You eat right. You visualize. You get your body to go beyond what you think it's capable of doing. That is how you perfect your vision and make your dreams come true. You come up with your idea, you perfect your vision, and then you take action on that vision. And that's the new through line that I'm putting into The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening. And it's really designed to tell stories like in parables. I just started reading the Bible, and I had never read the Bible before. And I was raised Catholic, but I always thought, I just was not into the Bible. But then if I was going to go ahead and write the sequel to the Bible, then I thought, well, geez, maybe it's a good idea that I do go ahead and read the Bible. I mean, it only makes sense, right? So I started doing that. And I realized that the Bible is actually teaching these very things, that the parables that Jesus told, or the people who wrote the Bible, that told the story of Jesus telling parables was that these stories are really about perfecting your vision and making your dreams come true by having faith. Because the subconscious mind, whatever it believes, it manifests into reality. So whatever you can train yourself to believe and have faith in, remember, you can move mountains, which is really true, because what I found out through studying science combined with religion is that there is no such thing as density, what you think it is. You are not really physically solid. And here's how I can explain this. The nearest planet to the nearest sun star to our sun is 25 billion miles away from the next sun. Well, planets are the same way. The Earth is a certain distance from another planet. And this spatial relationship exists between all similar bodies: suns, planets, molecules, atoms, electrons. And what they found out about electrons, which is really the basic building block of all existence, is that first the electron moves at 660 million miles per hour. And it can change position 40 million times per second, and it reacts to physical observation. It takes commands from our conscious and subconscious mind. So whatever you can have faith in for real, this true command in your subconscious is going to directly affect the matter and energy that is all around you, your waking reality. And now, to be able to move mountains is, if you try to drive a nail into a piece of iron and you try to drive a nail into a piece of butter, you'll find that one is more dense than the other, but it's not really density that you're looking at. What it is, it's the covalent bond between molecules. So density is really the strength of the bond between molecules. So it's not any more dense than you or me. It's no harder or softer. It's the spirit of God or the creator of the universe that is keeping all things together. So matter, combined with the attractive force of the Spirit of God that is in every single thing. There's no empty space here. Although you might be able to see me from the camera to here, there's still trillions of electrons, and there's oxygen and nitrogen and carbon dioxide in the air, and those are all particles of mass or gas, and we can't see them because we are not gas. We are apparently solid and dense, but that is not really what we are. We are not as dense as we think, because the same spatial relationships exist between those electrons. They're millions of electrons apart from each other. So if I pull off a piece of skin from my finger and I drill down into the skin and I look at the molecules that are made up by the atoms, that are made up by the electrons, you'll see the same spatial relationship. The distance between those atoms and the distance between those electrons, according to their relative size, is the same as the 25 billion miles distance between our sun and the next sun away from our sun. So that is what I have been learning and studying and infusing into the new way of thinking in this sequel to the Bible, the second coming of the Messiah, which is a story really about the Messiah of the 21st century who figures out the way to collapse the global military-industrial complex and eradicate the monetary system, thus leading us through the rapture into 1,000 years of peace, and in a world with no monetary system, where there's no more war, no more financial, physical, or mental slavery, which is what we are under. We're under financial slavery. That's why people are homeless on the streets. I live in Los Angeles, California, and they're everywhere. They can't afford to get into a house. People are losing their houses. There are 18 million homes in the United States right now that are unoccupied because they've gone into foreclosure. All because of this fiat monetary system that is based on debt. When the President of the United States, and I said this before, printed up the trillions of dollars to bail us out of this whole bank fraud, really, he printed us further into debt because dollars, currency, represents debt. It represents money owed. So he printed up more money that is owed because they borrow it from the Federal Reserve at interest. And it's just debt. So what I'm getting at is that you have the power to make your dreams come true. if you can only focus, unplug yourself from the rhetoric that the news and the newspapers and the computer are feeding you, and focus on your dreams and your goals. Come up with your idea, come up with your goal, perfect it with a couple of hours of really thinking about it and writing down those details, and then take action. Once you start taking action, all of the things, according to the law of attraction, will start lining up for you. The universe takes command from your mind and your belief, and that's what electrons are. The universe is made up of these electrons that are really whirling black holes that exist multidimensionally and do not fix into time and space until observed by you and your subconscious mind. So that's the first thing. Now, a friend of mine was Facebooking me, and we were talking, and he was complimenting me on one of my monologues, the what the fuck monologue from the movie Risky Business. So I decided to do another monologue here, and if it's not good, then I'm not going to air it. But if it is good, and I don't know, maybe it will be good, then I will air it. And so this is the Within Inches monologue done by Al Pacino in the movie Any Given Sunday. And here it goes. I got to get into the frame of mind. Remember, Al Pacino, he's like angry, and he's fed up, and he's sick of the way things have been going with his team. This team is falling apart. They're about to go into the playoffs, but everybody's fighting. Nobody's playing as a team, and he just gets in there, but he's older. He's at the end of his rope, and he sees it coming to an end, and he just walks in there, and he's like, this is how I would do it. I'm not going to do it how he would do it. I'm going to do it as if I'm going to do it at 44 years old. He was 50-something when he did it, so he's an older coach. I'm a younger coach. I'm going to be me doing it with a little more energy, a little more life left in my career, and this is how I would do it, because I would be pissed off at my team because I know how to get angry. And so here we go. I would walk in and I would see my team sitting there, and I would look at them and go, I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes until the biggest battle of our professional lives all comes down to today. Now, either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. Now, we're in hell right now, gentlemen, believe me. And we can stay here and get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around and I see these young faces and I think, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money. Believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. That's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life is this game of inches. And so is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. 1/2 a step too late or too early, you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know that when we add up all those inches, that's going to make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. Now, I'll tell you this. In any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. And I know if I'm going to have any more life in me, then I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because That's what living is. It's the 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You got to look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're going to see a guy who will go that inch with you. I think you're going to see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you going to do? All right, thanks. And that is the Within Inches monologue from the movie Any Given Sunday by Al Pacino. It's a little late at night. I don't want to wake up my neighbors and yell, but I could be a little more into that or not. There were moments where I felt like I had that pretty good. Anyway, I just was inspired to tell you about deliberate manifestation, how I'm changing the through line and the title and the artwork. In fact, if you haven't seen the artwork, let me grab it for you real quick. This is going to be the new cover art for The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening. And this is actually, it's going to be, above here it's going to say The Bible, Part 2, The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening. So it's still going to be The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening, but it's got it's newly inspired information. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening, as it is right now with the old cover, is really taking the perspective of reality being an illusion created in the mind, that it's not even out there physically. But it is, because all of this is material. So Analia Salazar, I paid her. She took the original concept of the cover art, and then I said, I want you to put chains around the earth as if it's a slave planet, and I want you to show the money symbols all over that's also trapping us, and the earth is under fire, and then there's the pyramid, and then there's the alien head, and just she did a great job, and I paid her for it. She's a world-renowned Analia Salazar, Argentinian artist. So this new through line is about deliberate manifestation, and the fact that really I had the through line as reality being an illusion created in the mind, that all sight and sound is transcription of light waves, energy waves, and sonic energy waves, and translated in the brain, that we're really seeing things up here in the mind, which I think we are, but I don't know. You can't deny solidity. You can't deny the touch and feel. Although I was saying that we're not really as dense as we think that we are because of the spatial relationship. What this is the attractive matter of spirit. This is God is within all of us, or the creator of the universe, or whatever is responsible for this existence that we're living in, is responsible for the spirit of density. It's spirit and matter combined to make reality. So it is real. Matter is real. Electrons are real. And the density and the attractive bond between those molecules and how they interact with each other is real. And that attractive force is the spirit of the creator of the universe, or our universe. Obviously, I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been writing about it a lot. You know, I worked for the government. I worked for the global military-industrial complex for 13 years. 8 years as an Army intelligence analyst and Korean linguist, and then 6 years as a government contractor, where I was a counterterrorism analyst at Southern Command for 2 years. Then I was the data manager of the Special Operations Joint Interagency Collaboration Center at Headquarters Special Operations Command for 2 years, where I managed a centralized intelligence database that was used to exploit all kinds of intelligence from all over the world by Pentagon analysts. So I know the deal, and I'm not into killing people and being a part of that. And I think it's time that war on this planet ends, and that we actually do let this whole prophecy of the Bible come true. Let's have a rapture. Let's go into 1,000 years of peace. I've figured out how to make it happen by collapsing the global military industrial complex, eradicating the monetary system, and which would be a rapturing, and we would go into a new world order without a monetary system, with no more war, and into 1,000 years of peace. So I'm writing it in the book, the sequel to the Bible, the Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening, Book 2, The Rapture, and Book 3, 1,000 Years of Peace, which will illuminate to you how to live in a world without a monetary system and how we can accomplish that together as one. Because we're all one anyway, honestly. All right. Thanks for watching The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And I guess by me, because I'm going to help collapse life as we know it. That is being perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex, because life as we know it right now is being perpetrated or caused by or created by or vibrated by the global military-industrial complex. Government corporations, major corporations, banks, they're all working together. Construction companies, all those things. War companies that build weapons. So I'm going to collapse that structure, or at least give you guys the roadmap on how we can all do it together. And then, when we collapse that structure, in doing so, we will also at the same time eradicate the monetary system. And it's a very simple process, and it's all in the book. All right, thanks for watching The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it is perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex, and teaching you to be a creditor in commerce. And one day there will be no commerce, so you won't have to worry about being a debitor or a creditor, a debtor or a creditor. It'll all be gone. Easy for me to say. And then we will all live to our highest and best use, just like what they teach in real estate appraisal class. Everything should be used for its highest and best use, including human beings. All right, peace.